A Friendship Quote Guide. Chapter 1. Friendship Quotes and One-Liners. Friendship Quotes 1. A true friend is the greatest of all blessings and that which we take the least care of all to acquire. François Duc de la Rochefoucauld. A friend may well be reckoned the masterpiece of nature. Ralph Waldo Emerson. A friend is someone who knows the song in your heart and can sing it back to you when you have forgotten the words. A friend is a gift you give yourself. Robert Louis Stevenson. A friend is one who knows all about you and likes you anyway. Christy Mary Warner. A friend can tell you things you don't want to tell yourself. Francis Ward Weller. Am I not destroying my enemies when I make friends of them? Abraham Lincoln. An ounce of blood is worth more than a pound of friendship. Spanish proverb. Between men and women there is no friendship possible. There is passion, enmity, worship, love but no friendship. Oscar Wilde. But friendship is precious, not only in the shade but in the sunshine of life, and thanks to a benevolent arrangement of things, the greater part of life is sunshine. Thomas Jefferson. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Just walk beside me and be my friend. Don't believe your friends when they ask you to be honest with them. All they really want is to be maintained in the good opinion they have of themselves. Albert Camus. Each friend represents a world in us, a world possibly not born until they arrive, and it is only by this meeting that a new world is born. Anais Nin. Forsake not an old friend, for a new one does not compare with him. Apocrypha. Ecclesiasticus 9:10. Friends are born, not made. Henry Adams. Friends are God's way of apologizing to us for our families. No person is your friend who demands your silence, or denies your right to grow. Alice Walker. Friendship is constant in all other things, save in the office and affairs of love. Friendship is a single soul dwelling in two bodies. Friendship is a strong and habitual inclination in two persons to promote the good and happiness of one another. Eustace Budgell. Friendship is the marriage of the soul, and this marriage is liable to divorce. Friendship often ends in love, but love in friendship never. Charles Caleb Colton. God save me from my friends, I can protect myself from my enemies. Proverb. Hold a true friend with both your hands. Nigerian proverb. How can sincerity be a condition of friendship? A taste for truth at any cost is a passion which spares nothing. However rare true love may be, it is less so than true friendship. I do not want a friend who smiles when I smile, who weeps when I weep. For my shadow in the pool can do better than that. If I had to choose between betraying my country and betraying my friend, I hope I should have the guts to betray my country. E. M. Forster. If a man should importune me to give a reason why I loved him, I find it could no otherwise be expressed, than by making answer, because it was he, because it was I. Michel de Montaigne. In times of prosperity friends will be plenty, in time of adversity not 1 in 20. English proverb. It is one of the blessings of old friends that you can afford to be stupid with them. It is the friends that you can call at 4 a.m. that matter. Marlene Dietrich. It is in the 30s that we want friends. In the 40s we know they won't save us any more than love did. F. Scott Fitzgerald. It's no good trying to keep up old friendships. It's painful for both sides. The fact is, one grows out of people and the only thing is to face it. Friendship Quotes 2. Life without a friend is death without a witness. Love demands infinitely less than friendship. My best friend is the one that brings out the best in me. Henry Ford. My best friend is the man who in wishing me well wishes it for my sake. Aristotle. My father always used to say that when you die, if you've got 5 real friends, then you've had a great life. Lee Iacocca. 9/10 of the people were created so you would want to be with the other 10th. Horace Walpole. No man can be happy without a friend, nor be sure of his friend till he is unhappy. Thomas Fuller. Odd how much it hurts when a friend moves away and leaves behind only silence. Pam Brown. Real friendship is shown in times of trouble. Prosperity is full of friends. Euripides. Remember friends as you pass by. As you are now so once was I. As low as I you once must be. Prepare yourself and follow me. Gravestone from the 1800s. Silence is the true friend that never betrays. Confucius. Sometimes our light goes out but is blown into flame by another human being. Each of us owes deepest thanks to those who have rekindled this light. Albert Schweitzer. Friendship quotes 2. The most I can do for my friend is simply to be his friend. Henry David Thoreau. The most deadly fruit is borne by the hatred which one grafts on an extinguished friendship. Gotthold Ephraim Lessing. The proper office of a friend is to side with you when you are in the wrong. Nearly anybody will side with you when you are in the right. Mark Twain. The only way to have a friend is to be one. There are no such things as strangers, only friends we haven't met yet. Anonymous. There comes that mysterious meeting in life when someone acknowledges who we are and what we can be, igniting the circuits of our highest potential. Rusty Burkus. This communicating of a man's self to his friend works two contrary effects, for it redoubleth joys and cutteth griefs in half. Francis Bacon. To know someone here or there with whom you can feel there is understanding in spite of distances or thoughts expressed that can make life a garden. Goethe. To me, fair friend, you never can be old. For as you were when first your eye-eyed, such seems your beauty still. We know our friends by their defects rather than by their merits. We are all travelers in the wilderness of this world and the best we can find in our travels is an honest friend. Robert Louis Stevenson. What a wretched lot of old shriveled creatures we shall be and by. Never mind the uglier we get in the eyes of others, the lovelier we shall be to each other, that has always been my firm faith about friendship. George Eliot. Women can form a friendship with a man very well, but to preserve it to that end a slight physical antipathy must probably help. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. Dale Carnegie. You can hardly make a friend in a year but you can easily offend one in an hour. Chinese proverb. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can by trying to get other people interested in you. Your friend is the man who knows all about you and still likes you. Elbert Hubbard. A man cannot be said to succeed in this life who does not satisfy one friend. A friend is, as it were, a second self. Marcus Tullius Cicero. A man's friendships are one of the best measures of his worth. Charles Darwin. A good friend can tell you what is the matter with you in a minute. He may not seem such a good friend after telling. Arthur Brisbane, The Book of Today. A real friend is one who walks in when the rest of the world walks out. Walter Winchell. Friends show their love in times of trouble, not in happiness. Euripides. So long as the memory of certain beloved friends lives in my heart, I shall say that life is good. Helen Keller. A hug is like a boomerang. You get it back right away. A true friend freely, advises justly, assists readily, adventures boldly, takes all patiently, defends courageously, and continues a friend unchangeably. William Penn. A man's growth is seen in the successive choirs of his friends. A friend to all is a friend to none. A friendship can weather most things and thrive in thin soil, but it needs a little mulch of letters and phone calls and small, silly presents every so often just to save it from drying out completely. A single rose can be my garden. A single friend, my world. Leo Buscaglia. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into friend. Martin Luther King, Jr. A true friend never gets in your way unless you happen to be going down. Arnold H. Glassow. A true friend is one who overlooks your failures and tolerates your success. Doug Larson. A friendship founded on business is better than a business founded on friendship. John D. Rockefeller. François de la Rochefoucauld. A friend is one who knows you and loves you just the same. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Just walk beside me and be my friend. An insincere and evil friend is more to be feared than a wild beast. A wild beast may wound your body, but an evil friend will wound your mind. An excellent man, he has no enemies, and none of his friends like him. As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. King Solomon. Be courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those few be well tried before you give them your confidence. True friendship is a plant of slow growth and must undergo and withstand the shocks of adversity before it is entitled to the appellation. George Washington. To have a friend takes time. All people want is someone to listen. Friendship is certainly the finest balm for the pangs of disappointed love. Jane Austen, Northanger Abbey. Be slow in choosing a friend, slower in changing. Benjamin Franklin. Be slow to fall into friendship, but when thou art in, continue firm and constant. Socrates. Being friendless taught me how to be a friend. Funny how that works. Colleen Wainwright, Communicatrix. Have no friends not equal to yourself. Confucius. But friendship is precious, not only in the shade, but in the sunshine of life, and thanks to a benevolent arrangement the greater part of life is sunshine. Do not protect yourself by offense, but rather by your friends. Dale Carnegie. Each friend represents a world in us, a world not born until they arrive, and it is only by this meeting that a new world is born. Friendship Quotes 3. False friendship, like the ivy, decays and ruins the walls it embraces, but true friendship gives new life and animation to the object it supports. Richard Burton. Fear makes strangers of people who would be friends. Shirley MacLaine. Friends and good manners will carry you where money won't go. Margaret Walker. Friends cherish one another's hopes. They are kind to one another's dreams. Friendship improves happiness and abates misery, by the doubling of our joy and the dividing of our grief. Friendship is unnecessary, like philosophy, like art. It has no survival value, rather it is one of those things that give value to survival. C.S. Lewis. Friendship is the source of the greatest pleasures, and without friends even the most agreeable pursuits become tedious. Thomas Aquinas. Friendship is not something you learn in school. If you haven't learned the meaning of friendship, you really haven't learned anything. Muhammad Ali. Friendship and money, oil and water. Mario Puzo. Friendship is certainly the finest balm for the pangs of disappointed love. Jane Austen. Friendship is the breathing rose, with sweets in every fold. Oliver Wendell Holmes, Sr. Friendship multiplies the good of life and divides the evil. Baltasar Gracian. Friendship needs no words, it is solitude delivered from the anguish of loneliness. Dag Hammarskjöld. Go through your phone book, call people and ask them to drive you to the airport. The ones who will drive you are your true friends. The rest aren't bad people, they're just acquaintances. Jay Leno. Good company requires only birth, education, and manners, and with regard to education is not very nice. Birth and good manners are essential, but a little learning is by no means a dangerous thing in good company, on the contrary, it will do very well. Jane Austen, Persuasion, 1818. He who has 1,000 friends has not a friend to spare. And he who has one enemy will meet him everywhere. Ali ibn Abi Talib, 100 Sayings. He who hath many friends hath none. Here and there, human nature may be great in times of trial, but generally speaking, it is its weakness and not its strength that appears in a sick chamber. It is selfishness and impatience rather than generosity and fortitude, that one hears of. There is so little real friendship in the world. And unfortunately, there are so many who forget to think seriously till it is almost too late. I don't need a friend who changes when I change and who nods when I nod, my shadow does that much better. Plutarch. I cannot even imagine where I would be today were it not for that handful of friends who have given me a heart full of joy. Let's face it, friends make life a lot more fun. Charles R. Swindoll. I always felt that the great high privilege, relief, and comfort of friendship was that one had to explain nothing. Catherine Mansfield. I can better trust those who help to relieve the gloom of my dark hours than those who are so ready to enjoy with me the sunshine of my prosperity. Ulysses S. Grant. I have friends in overalls whose friendship I would not swap for the favor of the kings of the world. Thomas A. Edison. If instead of a gem, or even a flower, we should cast the gift of a loving thought into the heart of a friend, that would be giving as the angels give. George MacDonald. If you have one true friend, you have more than your share. In the sweetness of friendship let there be laughter and sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of little things the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. Khalil Gibran. In prosperity our friends know us, in adversity we know our friends. John Chittenden Collins. Instead of loving your enemies, treat your friends a little better. E.W. Howe. I have learned that to be with those I like is enough. Walt Whitman. George Washington. It is only the great-hearted who can be true friends. The mean and cowardly can never know what true friendship means. Charles Kingsley. It takes a long time to grow an old friend. John Leonard. It is not so much our friends' help that helps us, as the confidence of their help. Epicurus. It is wise to apply the oil of refined politeness to the mechanisms of friendship. Colette, The Pure and the Impure, 1932. It is more shameful to distrust our friends than to be deceived by them. It's the friends you can call up at 4 a.m. that matter. Laughter is not at all a bad beginning for a friendship, and it is far the best ending for one. Let there be no purpose in friendship save the deepening of the spirit. Let us be grateful to people who make us happy, they are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. Marcel Proust. Lots of people want to ride with you in the limo, but what you want is someone who will take the bus with you when the limo breaks down. Oprah Winfrey. Love is blind, friendship closes its eyes. Friedrich Nietzsche. Love, enemy, friend. A friend is someone who gives you total freedom to be yourself. Lovers have a right to betray you. Friends don't. Judy Holliday. Men kick friendship around like a football, but it doesn't seem to crack. Women treat it like glass and it goes to pieces. Anne Morrow Lindbergh. Misfortune shows those who are not really friends. Aristotle, Eudemian Ethics. A true friend is someone who is there for you when he'd rather be anywhere else. Len Wein. My friends are my estate. Emily Dickinson. My best friend is the one who brings out the best in me. My idea of good company is the company of clever, well-informed people, who have a great deal of conversation. That is what I call good company. Never do a wrong thing to make a friend or to keep one. Never explain. Your friends do not need it and your enemies will not believe you anyway. Never contract friendship with a man that is not better than thyself. Never have a companion that casts you in the shade. No person is your friend who demands your silence, or denies your right to grow. Alice Walker. Nothing changes your opinion of a friend so surely as success, yours or his. Franklin P. Jones, Saturday Evening Post, November 29, 1953. Nothing but heaven itself is better than a friend who is really a friend. Plautus. The world is round so that friendship may encircle it. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. Never make friends with people who are above or below you in status. Such friendships will never give you any happiness. Chanakya. Old friends is always best, less you can catch a new one that's fit to make an old one out of. Sarah Orne Jewett. One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood. Lucius Annius Seneca. Walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light. In everyone's life, at some time, our inner fire goes out. It is then burst into flame by an encounter with another human being. We should all be thankful for those people who rekindle the inner spirit. One loyal friend is worth 10,000 relatives. A friend should be one in whose understanding and virtue we can equally confide and whose opinion we can value at once for its justness and its sincerity. Robert Hall. Our friends interpret the world and ourselves to us, if we take them tenderly and truly. Amos Bronson Alcott. Rejoicing in our joy, not suffering over our suffering, makes someone a friend. Rare as is true love, true friendship is rarer. Jean de La Fontaine. She is a friend of mind. She gather me, man. The pieces I am, she gather them and give them back to me in all the right order. It's good, you know, when you got a woman who is a friend of your mind. Toni Morrison. She felt that she could so much more depend upon the sincerity of those who sometimes looked or said a careless or a hasty thing, than of those whose presence of mind never varied, whose tongue never slipped. Silences make the real conversations between friends. Not the saying but the never needing to say is what counts. Margaret Lee Runbeck. Since there is nothing so well worth having as friends, never lose a chance to make them. Francesco Guicciardini. Friendship is one mind in two bodies. Some people go to priests, others to poetry, I to my friends. Virginia Woolf. Sometimes being a friend means mastering the art of timing. Sweet is the memory of distant friends. Like the mellow rays of the departing sun, it falls tenderly, yet sadly, on the heart. Washington Irving. The friend who can be silent with us in a moment of despair or confusion, who can stay with us in an hour of grief and bereavement, who can tolerate not knowing. That is a friend who cares. Henri Nouwen. The sincere friends of this world are as ship lights in the stormiest of nights. Giotto de Bondone. The most I can do for my friend is simply be his friend. The shifts of fortune test the reliability of friends. Cicero, de Amicitia. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances, if there is any reaction, both are transformed. Carl Jung. Friendship makes prosperity more shining and lessens adversity by dividing and sharing it. Cicero, on friendship. The language of friendship is not words but meanings. The thing about chameleoning your way through life is that it gets to where nothing is real. John Green, An Abundance of Catherines. The bird a nest, the spider a web, man friendship. William Blake. The greatest gift of life is friendship. The best time to make friends is before you need them. Ethel Barrymore. A quarrel between friends, when made up, adds a new tie to friendship. Saint Francis de Sales. The friend in my adversity I shall always cherish most. There are no strangers, only friends you haven't met yet. Friends were like clothes, fine while they lasted but eventually they wore thin or you grew out of them. David Nichols, One Day, 2010. There is a time for silence. A time to let go and allow people to hurl themselves into their own destiny. And a time to prepare to pick up the pieces when it's all over. Octavia Butler. Friendship Quotes 4. There is nothing on this earth more to be prized than true friendship. There is some self-interest behind every friendship. There is no friendship without self-interests. This is a bitter truth. There is a magnet in your heart that will attract true friends. That magnet is unselfishness, thinking of others first. When you learn to live for others, they will live for you. Paramahansa Yogananda. There are no strangers here, only friends you haven't yet met. William Butler Yeats. There's nothing like a really loyal, dependable, good friend. Things are never quite as scary when you've got a best friend. Bill Watterson. To flatter and follow others, without being flattered and followed in turn, is but a state of half enjoyment. True friends stab you in the front. True friendship can afford true knowledge. It does not depend on darkness and ignorance. True friendship is like sound health, the value of it is seldom known until it is lost. We call that person who has lost his father, an orphan, and a widower that man who has lost his wife. But that man who has known the immense unhappiness of losing a friend, by what name do we call him? Here every language is silent and holds its peace in impotence. Joseph Roux. What is a friend? A single soul dwelling in two bodies. When the character of a man is not clear to you, look at his friends. Japanese proverb. When you choose your friends, don't be shortchanged by choosing personality over character. W. Somerset Maugham. When a friend is in trouble, don't ask if there is anything you can do. Think up something and do it. When we honestly ask ourselves which person in our lives means the most to us, we often find that it is those who, instead of giving advice, solutions, or cures, have chosen rather to share our pain and touch our wounds with a warm and tender hand. Where would you be without friends? The people to pick you up when you need lifting? Wishing to be friends is quick work, but friendship is a slow ripening fruit. Without friends no one would choose to live, though he had all other goods. Aristotle, Nicomachean Ethics. You can always tell a real friend, when you've made a fool of yourself he doesn't feel you've done a permanent job. Lawrence J. Peter. You're supposed to trust friends, trusting without absolute evidence and then being rewarded for that trust. Albert Hubbard. Business friendship quotes at whoopaido.com/business_quotes/friendship-quotes.htm. Animals are born who they are, accept it and that is that. They live with it. Family, religion, friends. These are the three demons you must slay if you wish to succeed in business. Monty Burns, family, friends, success, business. On one level, going bust didn't bother me. It was the 80s and there wasn't the stigma about bankruptcy that you might think. My mates weren't bothered. My dad was in business. He knew that it happened, too. He loaned me the money to bail me out and I got a loan from the bank to pay him back. Simon Cowell, bankrupt, friends, business, banks, loan, family, money. My mother always told me that no matter how much you dislike a person, when you meet them face to face you will find characteristics about them that you like. Jerry Falwell was a perfect example of that. I hated everything he stood for, but after meeting him in person, years after the trial, Jerry Falwell and I became good friends. Larry Flint, mother, hate, friendship. They might be a good friend, but they are also a bitter commercial rival. Let's not kid ourselves. The American wheat industry has done everything it possibly can to criticize the Australian wheat industry in order to take the Iraqi wheat market from us. John Howard, America, competition, friendship, Australia. You learn in this business. If you want a friend, get a dog. Carl Icahn, business, learning. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty. John F. Kennedy, USA, friendship, freedom, warning, liberty, success, support, survival. I'm far from being reclusive. I have 30 or 40-year friendships that I prefer to meeting new people. I go to an occasional party, but just because I don't go to a lot of events and I'm not out in public all the time doesn't mean I'm antisocial or a recluse. Kirk Kerkorian, friendship, people. America has no permanent friends or enemies, only interests. Henry Kissinger, geopolitics, America, friends, enemy. Bill Maher and I are on against each other and we're friends. He can do my show anytime he wants and I've done politically incorrect several times. There's no reason to think competition has to be adversarial. Jay Leno, competition, friends, political. I had one simple idea about telling friends about arts and technology events. People in the community suggested everything else to us and that's our theme. We're really run by the people who use the site. We just run the infrastructure and help out with problems. Craig Newmark, technology, people, ideas, friends, help, problems, internet. Over a long distance, you learn about the strength of your horse, over a long time, you learn about the character of your friend. Chinese proverbs, learning, strength, friendship. I am convinced that material things can contribute a lot to making one's life pleasant, but, basically, if you do not have very good friends and relatives who matter to you, life will be really empty and sad and material things cease to be important. David Rockefeller, wealth, money, friends, important, family, sad, material, pleasant, life, prosperity. A friendship founded on business is a good deal better than a business founded on friendship. John D. Rockefeller, business, partnership. I know I have been portrayed as a general looking for war. Many other headlines speak of that. That's what people say. But I understand the importance of peace because I saw the horrors of war. That's how I see it. I lost my best friends in battles. And I had to make decisions of life and death, of others and myself. Ariel Sharon, war, friendship, peace. He is extremely loyal to his friends, but he is tougher than anyone if he feels betrayed. Talking about her father. Ivanka Trump, friendship, attitude. eBay had two main things that really spoke to me. It enabled individuals to do things that they could not have done without the web. The second thing was what Pierre said, people have met their best friends on eBay. What this has enabled is truly online community. Meg Whitman, eBay, Internet, community, friends. Lots of people want to ride with you in the limo, but what you want is someone who will take the bus with you when the limo breaks down. Oprah Winfrey, friendship, rich. If you go looking for a friend, you're going to find they're very scarce. If you go out to be a friend, you'll find them everywhere. Zig Ziglar, friends, encouragement.